Now I send thee to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light and from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Said Jesus to Paul, from the creators of Devil World, Super Mario. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. Bowser doesn't have that many heads, but he is a dragon, pretty much, just mixed with a turtle. And as Giga Bowser, he's more dragon-like. An ignorant person will say, but Nintendo says the dragonish turtle monster is the bad guy. So Nintendo is not satanic. In this series, I will God willing prove that Mario is also a representation of Satan, and the Antichrist in particular. Whichever side you choose, you chose Satan. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman, etc. The stars are angels, and the dragon is the leader of fallen angels, Satan. So his tail drawing the third part means that a third of the angels fell from heaven because God kicked them out because they rebelled against him, following Satan, who was Lucifer, light-bearer. Now he merely masquerades as an angel of light. He is not light anymore. Stars represent fallen angels, especially pentagrams. Mario seeks stars for power. Fallen angels have power, shall we say. Wow, another power star. Mario gains more courage from the power of the castle. That's what Mario's all about. He's all about getting that power. Witchcraft is evil because it is ingratitude to the Creator, siding with fallen angels against him. Witchcraft isn't as glamorous as Nintendo makes it out to be, and Disney, etc. But in Mario games, witchcraft is promoted. Some witches are bad, but a lot of witches are called good. They're treated as good, portrayed as good, because they help you. They help you to conquer heaven. So Merlin and this lady here, that's kind of satanic, don't you think? I mean, look at those skulls. It's kind of obvious. So the pentagram of Venus is a connection between Satan and both the planet Venus and the pentagram star of 5 points, because apparently the planet Venus makes this pattern in a certain time period. Venus, or Venus, is the brightest planet. So it matches Lucifer, light bearer, or has been light bearer. So there's Mario again with a star, and here he is again seeking the power of devils to get stronger. And in Mario Kart 64 you have Satan and the implied rings of Saturn. Later I'll cover what Saturn means in the symbolism of the cube and the rings. Nintendo is obsessed with stars for power, but people don't question what they play because they're not free thinkers. Yoshi is dinosaur propaganda. Those were invented by Satan's people to try to discredit Noah's Ark by inventing creatures too big to fit or too numerous. For over 30 years, I believed in dinosaurs because as a boy I was indoctrinated, and I considered them to be dragons until I questioned my belief, being a free-thinking Christian. I realized that the establishment had never proven even one alleged so-called fossil of a so-called dinosaur were real. Ask people how they supposedly know they would be real, and they will laugh and say, they say they're real, and you can't question experts. You can't be a free thinker. You can't think for yourself. You can't be intelligent. You need to be a simple follower without thinking. You know, Nazi scientists were very smart, right? Does that mean that they were never wrong? No, you shouldn't blindly trust scientists. They're paid to lie. They get funding if they promote a lie. That's the definition of gullibility. To just take them at the word. That's what I used to do. No more. Whatever would wipe out the sea monsters and the land dinos would have also eliminated the furry woodland creatures that were weaker than them, as well as fishes smaller than them. You need to hold to a double standard to believe in that shit. Don't call me gullible, because I proved what I know is reality, which is in my video 5 Proofs for God, which I haven't finished the Spanish translation of, because I'm busy with this video, and this is just the first part because I have 647 slides. And I also proved the Bible right in that video. So here you see the obsession of stars and their power. There's obviously some truth to this, because why would Nintendo focus so much on stars if they didn't actually give power, as in fallen angels? So here's the latest Mario thing, probably with a feminazi Peach. I ain't watching that shit. You can't trust Hollywood. There's a star again. Satan. So Super Mario Galaxy, a lot of people know this already, but if you join letters that have stars touching them, or at them, you get URMRGAY. So in Superstar Saga, you have stars everywhere. And in Peach's Castle in Super Mario 64. When you knock into a wall, stars come out. I think it's been a long time since I played that, but I think that's what happened. So the whole point was to release these devils from the hold of the minions of Koopa, whom I prefer to call Koopa over Bowser because Koopa sounds cooler. The power of the stars is returned to the castle. There's that star again. Do you ever wonder why they focus on this? Well, I'll tell you why. So the star makes you invincible, supposedly. The message is Satan will make you invincible. When you have the star, you can't get hurt. More stars, and more stars, and more stars, as well as that star, which is at a bend that recovers your health. And the message is that Satan gives health. Even more stars. They're everywhere. This star is a hexagon of 6 points, not 5. It represents the Antichrist, as I will elaborate later. God willing, Mario doesn't need an M to be recognizable. It's weird they added it. He is similar to Speed Racer, and Imagine Vegetable, and this fine lady. Here's the real reason for the M. This is the 13th letter in English and some other languages. Ergo, an allusion to Friday the 13th. That's when the Templars were burned by a French king who had debts that he did not want to pay them, but his accusations were true, as I will cover. Under torture, some Templars admitted to homosexuality and, the gaping and ruining of their anuses by immoral sex, and to the worship of heads and an idol known as Baphomet, the goat man, the androgynous goat man. Their leaders later denied these admissions, but their denial is of no worth. There is good evidence that the accusations were true, such as this representation of Templars on a horse. They had poor in their official name, however they were not poor, they were very rich. Each of them could afford over a dozen horses, but no, he wants to hump his brother in their satanic faith. The Knights Templar, pauperes commilitones Christi templique Salomonici Hierosolymitanis, poor fellow soldiers of Christ, supposedly, and of the Temple of Solomon. Solomon, by the way, last I checked, never repented of his sin of worshipping devils to please his pagan harem. of fine ladies. So he probably went to hell. And that's one of the reasons that devil-worshipping Knights Templars and the synagogue of Satan love him. So, these Knights Templar, they claimed to be poor, but they were filthy, stinking rich. They were hypocrites, frauds, and heretics. They were bankers and plunderers. How were they going to be poor? And that proves that their word is and was worthless, which means their denial of the accusations is of no value. The King of France had no power over the Templars outside of France. They had a huge presence in Western Europe, as you can see, especially France. But they survived because the French king couldn't extirpate all of them. He could not eliminate all of them. And so they took revenge. This commemorates their revenge. The tarot card, Death. Friday the 13th. XIII, Roman numeral 413. Of course, French king killed. Templar Knight, who was killed, comes back, as it were, to bring him down for what he did. Heretic king, aka the Pope, begs for mercy. And so the Templars took over the Vatican. There's the Templar cross on these stooges of Satan. And you also have the Twin Towers, Jack and Boaz, used in masonry, as well as this symbol here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ends. That's the pentagram implied, which I already covered. The first to Venus, which is the brightest star, which refers to Lucifer, Lucifer, the has-been. It is remarkable that the Hospitaller Knights used a similar cross to the Templars of 8 points. And there's a reason for that. It refers to the Star of Ishtar, which you can see a lot in the series. If you stick around, the Tower of Babel is referred to by it because Ishtar was a Babylonian goddess. And what was the Tower of Babel? It was when mankind united at Babylon to build a huge tower to reach heaven and conquer it under Nimrod, the then personification of Satan, whose dream it is to conquer heaven, after he was kicked out like lightning by God, because God is in charge and the devil is nothing compared to God. Here is Christopher Columbus doing this weird sign with his fingers, which is very deliberate and unnatural. He's posing there. He knows that it's for the painter to see, and he wants the painter to paint this. Implied devil horns. So the Templars controlled Portugal, Spain, Netherlands, England, France, and other kingdoms. Christopher Columbus was a Templar. His connections were with Templars, and he was promoted because he was a Templar. And there's a reason the Templar cross is always depicted on the ships of Columbus that got to the New World. And that Templar cross is seen in the Umbrella Corporation logo of Resident Evil, which is not a coincidence because Templars conquered the world. They became Masons, and they conquered every country, including Japan. So this is not irrelevant to Nintendo. This is getting to Nintendo. Just wait in part 2.